Hello, and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen. I'm thinking of doing a thesis on why some women think men can be women and hate women who don't. Also, I'm going to have a bit of a prattle about the health system.
An NHS doctor has said that she is biologically female, and she told an employment tribunal that trans women have the right to get changed in front of female colleagues. So this is a man identifying as a female in front of an employment tribunal on Monday. If you can see a nice Adam's apple there. So Mr. Upton said that Sandy Peggy, a female nurse, hasn't suffered harassment as a result of being forced to share female changing rooms with this A&E doctor who is a male. And there were tense exchanges at the tribunal, and Miss Peggy's lawyer, the doctor, repeated the claim of being female and suggested that colleagues uncomfortable with a trans woman using female-only spaces held misinformed, biased, unpleasant, or bigoted views. The bullying of women continues, folks. The bullying of women continues. And again, this shows international total capture. Chloe, where are you at?
Well, I think as you can probably predict, I'm absolutely fuming about this. I just cannot believe that a man can have the audacity to tell women that, I can't remember the exact words you read out, but basically saying, you're a horrible human being for saying, misinformed. You're misinformed to feel slightly uneasy about a man getting changed in front of you and a man watching you getting naked. It's just messed up. I think there's just no sympathy from their side to try and to at least recognize the female worries, which are just genuine and completely commonsensical to me, and think
Rational,
think about some sort of solution that takes those into account. Whether that's, please, can you at the NHS, can you have, a private changing room, or can I get changed in like a disabled toilet that's got a changing area? Can we make that disabled plus trans friendly, whatever it is, right? Can they at least come to some kind of solution that takes into account the views of the women, rather than just saying, you're transphobic, horrible turfs for suggesting that you want to get changed with only biological females?
Elliot, do you think that people will need, as in the Reform Party, if they get into power, that there needs to be a clarification in law of like a sort of Trumpian definition of sex?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, based on the way the party's going in terms of like following the line of what they're trying to do, I think that would have to happen. What I can't understand though is that you've got these woke feminists, right, who change their hair color every week, change the social justice that they're interested in every week. Why are they so bothered about this when this is essentially denying the existence of like a real woman, right? Like it's saying that you can't, there's nothing that defines a woman, like anyone can be a woman, when that's just not true. And it's just really disrespectful in general to themselves, because they're women and they think they're fighting for women's rights, but they're actually fighting against women's rights.
Exactly. Who would have ever thought that feminists would fight for men to be women? So, my hypothesis for women who believe men can be women are they are women that need a man to tell them what to think, but they have issues with men and are in denial about it, so they listen to men who identify as women instead. This is from 2023 Rainbow Ready Roadmap, Health and Community Services. Setting Guide for Health and Community Services, Evaluation Tools, Action Plan Tools, Rainbow Ready Checklist. You can also get them for community groups, local government, businesses and other services and learning environments.
And you wonder, how does that occur? How has it happened that these men are in so many jobs where they're allowed to parade their fetish at work? And like I said, bring back discrimination, as far as I'm concerned. So here it is. Here's a little BMA guide to wearing your fetish to work.
We invited doctors and medical students from across the UK to take part in a survey looking at the experiences of LGBTQ+ people training and working in medicine. Over 2,000 people responded. We wanted to find out about individual experiences of discrimination and their impact on well-being, how inclusive medical work and study environments are, what action is needed to ensure a medical profession free from discrimination.
Well, I don't think there should be one, love. So I think we should bring discrimination back.
We found that experiences of homophobic, biphobic, and transphobic behaviour in medicine are common. Experiences ranged from derogatory language, social exclusion, and having your professional competence doubted to overt hostility, threats, name-calling, and violence.
Colleagues.
I'll tell you what I think overall, right? I think if your sexuality isn't part of your identity, as in, why would anyone know, really? Like, people know I'm straight. I might mention a husband, and I guess a lesbian might mention a wife, and a man might mention a husband or a boyfriend or whatever. And if that invites some negative kind of terrible behavior, then of course there should be a way to complain to anybody about harassment at work, about being treated badly by anyone for any reason at work. You know, I don't think it's better or worse if you work with someone who's homophobic, I don't think it's better or worse than someone who's just an absolute twat. In my view, I think just, professional conduct at work is something that we all expect. But we're not here to talk about lesbians and gays.
Laughing about not wanting to share cups with me because they didn't know where my mouth had been.
I have been told openly that had I been outed as transgendered at interview, I would not have been appointed.
There's this really odd thing that happens where you're not supposed to know that a man is a man. Like, it's really weird that we're not supposed to know which ones are men and which ones are women, which obviously is bullshit.
These experiences had a deeply negative impact on well-being, leading some doctors and medical students to consider leaving medicine altogether.
See, this is what happens when you link in LGB with the T, because I personally think that there probably are a number of cases, specifically with some religious communities and cultures who are really homophobic. And I would like that to be challenged. And I think that's quite important. But once you chuck in the rest of it, I just think grow up and get on with it.
I considered leaving medicine because it felt too difficult to work as a trans person. I don't feel supported at work with this at all. Sometimes every day can feel like just an unending series of small battles.
Over half of trans respondents and over a quarter of lesbian, gay, bisexual and queer respondents had been bullied.
I was bullied by a colleague at medical school for a year with deliberate misgendering, undermining me in front of seniors and patients, and raising concerns about my professionalism due to my gender identity.
I bet they were fucking right. I bet they were right. I bet they were 100% right. Just 100. Look, if you have an identity where you don't even know what biological sex you are, you shouldn't be in medicine. I know that many of you lovely people supposedly fighting this will accept all kinds of things. There's a man in America that goes and gives speeches apparently about how he knows he's a man with tits. Like, I know the gaslighting goes on, and it's kind of almost worse when it goes on in supposed turf world than anywhere else. But, you can't demand that people use silly language for you. And actually, I think You have every right to pretend to be the opposite sex, and the NHS has every right to get rid of you.
I'm not obviously queer, so people often make the jokes without realising they're joking about me as well.
Most incidents go unreported, often because people have no confidence that reporting would make any difference, or are worried about backlash.
I didn't feel safe enough to progress my concerns and was told some were in my imagination.
Worryingly, those witnessing discrimination also chose not to report it. Despite these experiences, many people feel that medicine is becoming more inclusive of LGBTQ+ people.
When I was a trainee, I was frightened to disclose my sexuality. I felt awkward, and it really hindered my professional and personal development. As a consultant, I have been open about my sexuality, and that has allowed me to thrive.
I think if people were more regularly confronted with the fact that jokes made at the expense of LGBTQ staff and patients seriously impact their mental health and increase risk of suicide, that would do a great deal of good.
Key to this is ensuring respect for everyone's right to be themselves and to study and work in environments free from discrimination. The BMA is calling for a medical profession that is inclusive of all sexual orientations and gender identities. It's time to end discrimination in medicine.
So we are looking at, we're basically looking at how it's happened that a woman in this day and age is subjected to basically sexual assault. And we find that the BMA and the NHS practically promotes it. Now let's have a look at, look, sometimes people get outed as trans at work, and you might wonder how does that happen? You really might ask yourself, how on earth does it happen? And I mean, most of them go undetected, I'm sure.
People think it's not there, and we need to showcase it absolutely is.
How it went?
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vicky, and thanks, Adam.
Hi, Emily. Really nice to see you here at the day.
I hope this stunning and brave woman has not been outed at work. I don't want anyone to say anything about the hands. That's just really unfair.
Yeah, and it's more important that their feelings are protected than the patients are. And that'll do. See you later. Bye.